All right, ready?
Cool. Yep.
Welcome to this next episode of Clinically Pressed. We're here at Journey Active in La Crosse with the owners, Kevin and Devan Weis. So we're here today to talk a little bit about their story, their background of how they started this, kind of what their vision is, and what they hope to accomplish. So if you guys want to give us a little bit of background about yourselves and how you kind of came to the idea to want to start this company and kind of where you're hoping to take it.
Sure. Go ahead.
Well, my name is Kevin Weis, like you said. I studied here at UWL, grew up in Fountain City, Wisconsin, so pretty close to La Crosse here. But I studied business management, economics, and sustainability. So for me, it was more about the vision of creating a company. And Devan and I had a really nice pairing, aside from being husband and wife, just our backgrounds.
Yep. So my background then would be the fitness side of things. I also went to UWL here for my first 3 years and then did an internship in Eau Claire, graduated from there, and I've been teaching group fitness classes since I was a sophomore in college, so a few years ago, and then decided to move on to some personal training, and after that, Kevin's vision for the business kind of started to be a reality, and I realized being my own boss was definitely something I wanted to do, and I've always had a burning desire to help more people be proactive about their health, and so this was a really great way to be able to do that.
So how long has this idea been in the works?
Well, we make it sound longer than it actually has been. So it hasn't even been a year since this opportunity fell in our laps. I would say probably November of last year we were approached with the idea, hey, think about this. Okay, yeah, sure, we'll think about it. And then kind of set it aside because that was way out of our comfort zones and not something we were ready for yet as newlyweds and newly graduated and all of those things. And then in January, they're like, so have you thought about it? And we were like, oh, so you were serious. Okay. So then we started to take it more seriously. So it's been since January of 2016, just this year, and now fast forward October, this is where we're at. So
kind of a streamlined approach.
Yeah, yep.
It's been very quick, and the funny thing is Devan's always had a dream of owning some type of gym, whether it's like a home personal one where she did personal training and such. So we hadn't really thought about starting our own business and helping so many people, but the opportunity just kind of fell in our laps, and one thing after another, and we're here. So.
Yeah.
Awesome. Need more of that. Oh, yeah, wow. That'd be good over here.
It's taking a lot of work. But.
Oh yeah, no, I don't doubt that at all.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So once that opportunity came, how did you start to develop then your vision of what you wanted your company to look like and your training philosophy? So how did that evolve out of that process?
Yeah, good question. I would say that was the hardest part because it was like, oh yeah, cool, like a gym, that's a neat idea. Except for in order to have a gym that works in an active area like La Crosse, you've got to stand out a little bit. So we have to be different than everyone else. And I've always known that in order to attract clients, in order for clients' programming to be effective, it's got to be different than just the next best thing out there. So that's where our vision for the business started to evolve. That's where this map structure came from. Can you see it in the camera a little bit, maybe?
Playing Foursquare in here?
Yeah, no, it's not Foursquare, it's 20 square. So we actually have 6 foot by 6 foot squares in here where that's what we call our map. And our programming kind of is structured around that. So everyone has their own square in a class. They're not always stuck to the square. It's not like your little box where you have to stay within. But we created that structure for the class because in my experience teaching group fitness classes, a lot of classes can be very crowded and uncomfortable. And so you don't always feel like you have space to belong. And so that's your space to belong. And we may move around within the map to different squares, or we may move around to the other small room for the pull-ups and do different stations with kettlebells or ropes or whatever. But yeah, so that's what makes this really unique is that map structure and also our foundational training of kettlebell training and body weight training. We start with moving well first, and then we move lots. So yeah, that's how our programming evolved.
So are most of the, I guess, options in terms of what members are doing, is it all group exercise sessions, or is there open training time? How does that part work?
Definitely. So we're not starting off with personal and small group training, 2 to 4 people, but that's something that we're hoping to phase in. What we did when we were starting Journey Active is we wanted to look at what was already out there and what are they missing out on. One of the biggest things that we found is that personal relationship. You'll have people who go to a gym, stick their earbuds in, and go into it without a plan. There's no guidance, and usually they get the workout in and don't talk to anybody the whole time. And just us as humans, we need that personal connection, that personal relationship. So that's what we kind of built Journey Active around, and that's part of why we limit our class sizes so that people can get the proper attention, make sure they're doing things right, not getting injured. And so when we phase in that personal and small group training, that's going to give us even more options to have that personal connection with people.
Yeah.
So we really wanted to approach this kind of from a disruptive standpoint for the fitness industry, because most everything out there is not personalized attention. There's not a lot of unique ideas, and so we kind of just looked at the competitors and did quite a bit of research and kind of came up with some fun, creative ideas of our own.
Yep. And going along with like the open gym time too, that's something where like foundationally we're structured around group classes, but then from there any of our family members or our members can have an open gym membership. And so we made that very affordable. Is something that they can choose to add on if they want to come in and additionally do their own thing or some of our programming and work on it on their own time, just work on technique, getting things better. We did that because we want them to come in, learn how to do things correctly so that they stay and so that they want to work out, because there's no worse thing than coming in, doing your own thing, sticking your headphones in, and being really sore in your back after your deadlifts and wondering why deadlifts have to feel this way. And so that's why we did the group classes, so we can focus on everyone's form and technique first, and then we can expand from there. So I think it's good for everybody.
How's that corporate espionage work? I just envision you guys with like little binoculars peeking in the windows of other gyms around town and taking notes.
Yeah, some of it was kind of like that. We tested out some different places, and that's what you got to do. You got to be actively involved in the process. And fortunately for us, Devin has had experience working in all different types, whether they're kind of big box type gyms, local gyms, or different type of fitness facilities that you'll see in most towns. So I don't know if you want to expand on that at all.
Yeah, I mean, and this is, I definitely think that our programming and our structure stands apart from everyone else's, but I also think that everyone else's has the time and place and the person who fits that. So I'll never be somebody who says, like, everyone else is, they're wrong and we're right, and so you should come here. Maybe there's some of that, but I definitely think that 24-hour gyms have their time and place. If that works for someone who's self-motivated and they know what they're doing and that's their comfort zone and they're noticing results that way, great, stay there, do that. If you like to keep your headphones in and you don't want to have relationships, don't come here. So that may work for like the really introverted person. However, both of us, we were just talking yesterday about how we would both identify as introverted individuals. So starting a business, as you might guess, is out of our comfort zone. But it's growing us so much, and we're realizing that this is something we enjoy. Like, as humans, like Kevin said, we long for relationships. No matter how cheesy that might sound, like we long for relationships. So it's something that we really enjoy, just being around people during our test week this week. And so we know other people are going to like that aspect too. So, yeah.
One thing I forgot to ask earlier, what's with the name? How did you guys?
That was my big one, because it's not X Fitness or something gym or whatever it is. I guess most people, if they search local fitness, aren't gonna sit there and see Journey Active and
Right.
go, that's where I wanna go check out, just because it doesn't say your typical things.
Right.
Yeah, that's a
Well,
good question.
There's two kind of sides to that. One of the sides is from the business standpoint. We want to stand out. We want to be different. Something that people will come to learn, even though it may be kind of a transition process. Helping people get that brand recognition, it's going to help us stand out. But the second thing is both words, journey and active, kind of play a part for us personally. If you want to kind of talk about your journey approach.
So Journey started from my side of things at the beginning. Journey has always kind of been like my life word, or like what I kind of live by. Like everything's a journey. You're never there yet. You've never reached your destination. You may reach like points along the way, but you never reach your destination. So it's all about the journey and the process. And so that was where the name Journey came from. And also just a little more personal side of things, it was the theme of our wedding 2 years ago. So we had like a travel journey theme. So that tied in us, and we want to be very real with everybody who comes in here, and we want them to know us, and we want to know them. And so that was where the journey part came from. And then going along with the active side of things, Gym Journey and Journey Fitness, they were things that just rang too well. Like everywhere is whatever fitness or whatever gym or whatever, so we wanted to stand out, and it's going to take us a while to develop that brand recognition, but people ask that all the time, like Journey Active. Okay, so we know that you're a facility that does something with activity, which was our goal. We didn't want to just go with Journey because there's a whole like shoe company and some other things, that might be kind of confusing for people. So that's where
Not a bad thing to be affiliated with the band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other side of that, though, is, when you hear the word fitness or gym, you've got a picture that's already painted, right? It's maybe of this muscular guy or this, tight fit little girl. Well, we want to welcome everybody, and the word active, if you kind of relate that to some other words, it's engaged and present, right? So if you're active in something, you're engaged, you want to be involved, you want to learn about it, and when you're here in class, you're present. You're forgetting everything else, getting rid of the distractions. You're here working on yourself, whether that's the actual class and working on your physical health, or some of the other things that we'll offer is those health explorations, which are kind of free educational seminars, not only for our family members here at Journey, but for the community as a whole, where they will be able to register and come in and attend a session on different health-related topics, whether it's mental health, financial wellness, stress management, chiropractic care. It's all part of your overall wellness. So we want people to be actively engaged, not only with their exercise, but with learning about how they can better take care of themselves, kind of from a holistic perspective.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Good backstory to it.
Yeah. We always want to have a purpose in everything. So, and that's something that anyone who comes in here will learn too, because we'll often ask people like, so what is your purpose? Your new friend on the street might not ask you what your purpose is, but when you come in here, we understand how important it is to have something you're working for. So I was just listening to a TED Talk yesterday from a guy who coached me during the my Strong First certification, which is a kettlebell training that I went to in Philly, and he did a TED Talk on basically purpose, and his doctor told him, change your diet, because he was at 330 pounds and he needed to do something about his life because he was a food addict. And so he needed to find a purpose, and that was his mom. And they went on this journey together and got to a healthier place, and now he helps people do the same thing. And so that's what we want to do, because unless you have that level of like disgust or that overarching goal that you're aiming for, it's just going through the motions, and you can do that anywhere. So Yeah, so we're driven by that purpose. Yeah.
So I know you don't want to bash anybody, and I'm not asking you to, but we've kind of talked about some of the things, like what are some of the biggest mistakes or like myths that you've seen like in the fitness health industry, I know, or even some of the things that would be like the biggest waste of time.
Sure.
And something that we kind of do, A, with this and B, with the blog, it's just like there's certain things that are just shown not to get you where you want to be.
Yep.
What are some that you guys have seen?
You want me to take this?
Sure.
So we could probably go on and on and on
Most likely.
and on
Yep.
about all of the things that are out there. And when I was thinking about this before today, I was just like, gosh, like what do I pick? Because there's so many things out there, and even as fitness professionals, we're bombarded with like, here's the next best like way to train, here's the next best this thing, get your clients to lose 30 pounds in 5 days and they'll feel great. And it's a lie. And so there's just a lot of stuff out there that probably one of the biggest things I've learned is to not take anyone's word for it right away, to do my own research, and that's something that we will always do here. But I would say, getting back to the question, I'll stick to one of the biggest myths that I know of, and this is a struggle for women primarily, but also for men, I think, is the scale doesn't lie. And part of that is true, because the number on the scale, yes, is what you weigh, but what does that number mean? Like, what makes up that? And so people think like, 100 and whatever. You know what? I won't even say a number, because there's no number that makes you fat or skinny.
It doesn't define you.
It doesn't define you. And that's probably one of the biggest things that I've learned personally. So just a little bit of my backstory. Growing up as a girl, you're bombarded with all of these images of like what's good and what the next best thing is and how to lose 10 pounds in 10 days and all of these other things. So I won't say anything specifically, but what that got in my head was at 135 to 145 pounds in high school, I was fat and I didn't feel good about myself. And so the scale told me that I weighed somewhere in there. I don't remember exactly. And then when I came to college, I decided to major in fitness because I wanted to find out more about that number. And I wanted to know, how my body was working and how to fix that, because I felt like I needed something to fix, or I had something to fix. And so I had my body composition tested a few years ago, and I was at about 26 or 27% body fat. And so I was told that was okay, but during that time also I changed up my routine a little bit, which is another myth. I started strength training, and for women, lots of women think like, ooh, like not gonna touch the weights because they're gonna make me huge, and I don't want to be like that swole guy at the squat rack, Yeah. So I started strength training, and fast forward 3 years later, just really long story short, at about 130 pounds and 15% body fat, I look completely different, but I'm only about 5 pounds on the scale lighter. So if I were the average individual out there, I'd be looking at the scale 3 pounds later being like, why can't I just lose 15 pounds? Why can't I just lose 15 pounds? I'm doing everything that everyone says I should be doing. I'm working out, I'm running 5 miles a day, I'm eating all the right foods and taking the right supplements and all of this stuff, but the scale's not changing. But my body composition changed a lot. And so if you would look at a picture of me from high school and you'd look at a picture of me now, I think I function and feel way better. I don't think, I know I function and feel way better now as a trainer and somebody who moves a lot than I did in high school as an athlete. So I think, I'm a little passionate about that topic.
You're not alone.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. We found, just in one that we had done, we've referenced it multiple times, basic study on working out with just this basic strength program and one that had a diet component to it, and it was just general people, sedentary people from the community. Came in, did bod pod, metabolic tested them the whole bit, and you know, we'd have people come back and they were pissed because I lost 3 pounds, but when you actually broke down the body comp, some of them had dropped 10 pounds of fat but put on 6-7 pounds of muscle, and didn't even realize it because they just looked at the scale, and I think once that happened, a lot of eyes were open, and it's just like, oh, well, maybe this isn't so bad, just because they just hadn't had the muscle to put on before because they never tried.
I feel for people because a lot of times they don't have access to that kind of equipment, and they don't quite know or quite understand the changes, and they'll quit. They'll get discouraged because they're not losing the weight that they wanted to, so they stop whatever they were doing, even though it was absolutely the right thing, and they were making an incredible transformation. They just didn't give it enough time or didn't quite understand what was going on. So I'm with you on that one. I hate the number on the scale. I hate body mass index that kind of classifies you into a certain category.
I've been obese for the last 15 years.
Same with
me.
And life is over.
Off the charts on that. So, and there's situations where people can be of a healthy BMI, of a healthy weight, but clinically they're obese. You know, from a metabolic standpoint, their cholesterol levels are terrible, triglyceride levels are terrible, high blood pressure, pre-diabetic, but they're healthy according to their scale and their BMI, so they think they're okay, but again, they may have 35% body fat.
Right.
Just clinically a mess. So.
That's a...
Glad you brought that point up.
That's a good to be addressed. For sure.
You're not alone with it.
You know, well, just piggybacking off of like what you said about access to that type of equipment, that needs to change, and I don't know how. That's, you know, bigger vision than me and maybe what I can do alone, but that needs to change for people. They need access to that stuff to be able to see those changes and see how much muscle they have. Because when I knew how much lean muscle mass I had, I was like, dang, I don't even care if I have like 20 pounds fat on me. I have that much muscle. That's pretty cool. And that's changed from how I felt about myself. You know, there's such thing as skinny fat. So
absolutely. I think that's interesting with you guys being on the forefront of it, just some of the things we've talked about utilizing the bod pod, and something that you, AJ, and I have looked at on our other side, just like getting that information out there so people can actually have like the driven results behind it, and it's not just a number on a scale. Like it's a little more complicated than that, and it doesn't have to be.
It really has to work its way into the medical community, I think, before any substantial change happens, because you go in for your annual physical, they weigh you, they tell you your BMI.
Your health screening over at the for your insurance,
biometric screenings, and that's really what is very unfortunate, because they use that to, not necessarily with this healthcare plan, but they'll adjust your premiums or put you at a higher risk category based on your weight or your BMI, when it's absolutely misleading. And even like the military, they will still rely on that sometimes, or people will fail a fitness test because their BMI was high. So they have 7% body fat or something. They're not at a high risk category at all, and it needs to start with that kind of policy change. You know, we can attack it from the fitness side of it, which helps, but that's where it's a really big issue when those types of decisions or classifications are based on misleading information.
Absolutely.
That might help from a medical standpoint with preventative medicine, the way that you should approach it, rather than being treated for this stuff after, you know, you're already years down the road. You can attack it early on if you know those little details.
I don't know if this is going too far off script, but like with the whole preventative medicine side of things, obviously we're not medical professionals. I would never claim to be. I would never give somebody medical advice, but I can give them general health advice, general nutrition advice that's going to help the general individual. And most of us as Americans are general people. You know, like we don't necessarily fit into that elite athlete status, and maybe now we're, you know, like completely far gone, where we need absolute medical care and all of those things. And so part of our mission as Journey Active is to partner with medical professionals and healthcare professionals in the area to get people that preventative care. So like chiropractic, physical therapy, making sure people are well so that they can work out their best and they can notice results better and faster, because I mean the truth is it's not just fitness, which is a lot of what we do. It's not just nutrition, and it's not just chiropractic, and it's not just something else. It's all of those things that work together as pieces of the puzzle. So
Yeah, we did an interview with a physical therapist in the area, and we kind of talked about the same kind of thing of almost treating body maintenance like you would car maintenance, right? Go in before there's a problem, get your regular oil changes,
Yep.
and do those kind of things throughout the year so that you're not stuck with a broken down car. Same thing with your body, just do your routine maintenance from a variety of different angles like you mentioned, and that way it's not going to be too late, or then you won't have to fix things when they completely break down.
absolutely.
In order to be successful in any area of your life, you've got to be consistent. Do those regular checkups, whether it's health or finances or working on your faith or whatever it is. Gotta have that consistency.
Yeah, and you only live once. Your car may live twice, or you could get a new one, but you only live once and you only get one body. So, our goal obviously is to be able to help people learn how to take care of theirs. So
I think a lot of people are just afraid of the time that it takes to make substantial changes, but if you go at it from the consistency and preventative side of it, I think it, kind of taking after Tim Ferriss with the 4-hour body and things like that, really doesn't take a whole lot of time, either on a daily basis or a weekly basis. If you just put in a couple hours here and there, you can make pretty substantial improvements over time.
And the tough thing is that they see that front end commitment, but they don't see the years that it could potentially add to their life.
Yeah.
So, my background is in finance. I'm
Right.
a financial advisor. And it's the same thing. Well, I can't afford $100 a month to save for my retirement. And then you see the majority of people who get to retirement and all they have for income is Social Security. It's the same thing with health. If you save a little bit, you do that 30 minutes, hour workout 3-4 times a week, you're going to be thanking yourself in the long run rather than your future self being mad at your present self for not doing what you needed to do.
yeah, absolutely.
It's an analogy you don't hear a lot within the fitness side of it. I like that.
It's the other 22 hours of the day thing.
Yeah.
Which I think is the other, you kind of touched on a little bit, and like kind of a myth is like you don't have to work out for 2 hours a day to be in shape and have healthy, like you just don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that way, and it's so much of what you do the other time, because you could go work out for 2 hours and you go eat an entire pizza and it goes away, unless that's your goal for certain people,
Time and a place, I guess.
Yeah, different people, different things, but like the same thing, like you have to do cardio to lose weight. I think that's very interesting. There's not a single piece of cardio equipment in here.
Yeah.
And I applaud that. I think that's great. When you talk about your big box gyms, everybody goes on and you see the gym memes about the people on the treadmills and the ellipticals, and it's just like that's why you hate it. Nothing's effective when you're doing stuff like that. So
Absolutely. Do you guys mind if I grab a kettlebell really quick?
no, go for it.
I just want to touch on that little cardio aspect. Okay, so total home gym right here, or Journey Gym if you're coming over here. So people are like, yeah, cardio. How do I get my cardio in? I hate running.
Faster.
Yeah, lift faster. So kettlebells, which is what our functional or our foundational training is built around, it's your core, it's your strength training, it's your cardio all in one, and all your accessory movements. So full body workout right here. I'll just do a couple different things and kind of tell you what I'm doing in them. Core, we could go with just a goblet squat, down and up, if I'm from the side, my core is engaged here, so Kevin punched me in the stomach. I'm engaged, my core is working. Okay. Another core exercise would be the snatch, which I'm not going to show you right now. Cardio, kettlebell swings. Probably some of you have heard about them, maybe never done them, or never done them correctly, and don't do them because your back hurts. So, cardio right here. And done. Okay, my heart rate is already starting to be elevated, so I'll probably start to breathe harder if I'm doing a few rounds of that. And just to give you an example, our workout yesterday, we did 10 rounds of 8 to 12 swings at the top of every minute. By the end of it, people were like, okay, I was wrong. Like, kettlebells can totally give me a cardio workout. And I picked up and went for a run with a friend who was training for a marathon a couple weeks ago. No problem. And I'm not really a runner at my core, and this has been the one thing that stayed consistent. Strength training with a kettlebell. I'm just going to do a shoulder press. So clean, press. Got a nice little strength movement in there. My core also getting a lot of work through that too. So, yeah, that's your little home gym. And I mean, pretty simple. I think that's, maybe another myth that people believe is you've got to have like this complex, crazy plan in order for it to work, and you have to do all the things. And you don't have to do all the things in order for it to work out. Keep it simple. So that's my little plug for the kettlebell. Something that we like here.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a good point. A lot of people kind of miss the forest through the trees with trying to stick to their strict definitions of cardio training or strength training. But if you look at more of like the physiological side of it, of what you're trying to do, and we do cardio training, you're trying to increase heart rate, increase ventilation rate, and things like that. Well, you can accomplish that through anything. It doesn't have to be on treadmill, on elliptical. If you do compound movements, with high repetitions, your heart rate's going to go up, your breathing rate's going to go up. All responses that we're trying to do from our kind of cardio-based definition. So the mode of exercise is really irrelevant. It's what, from a physiological side point, what's actually happening, that's the important side of it. So you can do that from kettlebell training, you can do it from running, you can do it from cycling, you can do it from hiking up a bluff here in the Crosse, jumping jacks, jump rope, like all the responses are the same. Your body doesn't care what it's doing, it's what is it actually doing to your body. That's the important part of it. So I think that's perfect that you can accomplish that through kettlebell training, and then you can also start blending it with other styles of training, strength-based, core development, things like that.
absolutely.
That's kind of why I made it through my half marathon.
Right. I mean, perfect.
Did 3 long runs the entire training in 12 weeks. Everything else was, I don't even know what the best way to say it is.
Interval.
Interval, yeah, that's
For marathon training, you said?
Half marathon, yeah.
Half marathon, okay.
Running 8 200s with 60-second rests in between, or running 400s or 800s, and it would take me half an hour, because I didn't want to dedicate an hour and a half to a 6-mile run or whatever it would be, or hopefully it didn't take me that long to run 6 miles, but it ended up working. I made it through the thing.
That's awesome. Yeah, I always tell people, if there's something that you don't like to do in exercise, don't do it. Like, you don't want to go run 10 miles, don't. If it hurts, don't do it. Or find out why it hurts and then find out how to do it correctly. But, if you're a runner, power to you. Like, go run. That's great. Like, it's good exercise for sure. Not bashing that at all. But yeah, if there's something that you don't like to do, find what you do like to do. Even if that's hiking or doing bodyweight stuff at home in your living room.
Make it fun.
Yeah, make it fun. So, yeah.
Yeah, we both kind of are joking that we hate, cardio, don't do a lot of it. Part of it for me personally is I'm not very good at it. It does kind of hurt a little bit. I've never put in the time and effort to improve that skill and get it to the point where I can do it pain-free and really enjoy it. But at the same time, I can get those kind of benefits through other types of exercise, and that's what I've done. And, if we look at what my VO2 max would be, which is a common indicator of aerobic fitness or anything like that.
Right.
I've never really done consistent aerobic training in 5-10 years, and my VO2 max is still probably in the 50s, which is above average. It's not great, but it's not bad considering I never hit the trails running for 4 hours a week. So again, you can accomplish the end result through a variety of different ways.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You work to be your best at what you're good at and what you enjoy the most. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, looks like I can't think of anything. Should we move on to our well, I guess I do have another question. So you kind of got into some of it with some of the different types of exercises and relying on kettlebells primarily, but do you have different types of classes or like levels of class? Here's our beginner or intro version, here's the more advanced kind of style of class, or is it kind of pretty similar across the board?
Yeah, so starting with the beginner side of the question, so anyone is welcome to come into any class. We don't necessarily have a requirement at this time of you have to come to this beginner seminar class at this time, this day of the week. We wanted to be able to accommodate for everyone to come to any of our classes throughout the week. So if you've never touched a kettlebell before, feel free to come in and feel welcome. We take time at the beginning to work on some mobility and the skill that we'll be applying for the day so that there are no questions. So if you have never touched a kettlebell before and we're doing swings for the day, we're going to start with our foundation of a deadlift, and then we're going to work it up into the swing, and then we'll apply it during our workout. So that's great for the beginner. It's great for the advanced person because we all always have something to work on. So that's how kind of our classes are structured. But then also on the beginner side of things, the second Friday of every month, our MAP Connect class, which is basically our partners stations workout day. It's kind of our do whatever day. I'll have a lot of fun things incorporated into our Friday workouts. The second Friday of every month will be replaced with beginner class. So all 8 classes that day will be for anyone who's a beginner or who's advanced and wants to come in and tweak form, can come in during those classes the second Friday of every month. So as far as our other classes throughout the week, each of our 5 days of the week focuses on a foundational movement. So I mentioned swings and deadlifts. Those are our Monday foundational movement. So Monday is the same all the way down. All 8 classes are the same. So we did that so that people aren't coming to multiple classes a day, overtraining, that kind of thing. But if they decide to come to 5 classes a week, they're not overtraining because of our different foundational movements each day. So and we work on lower body pull, upper body push, lower body push, upper body pull, so that we're alternating things throughout the week. And then also incorporating different accessory muscle groups within the workouts too. So it's not just, you're not just swinging the whole time, or you're not just deadlifting the whole time, because that'd be a long 45 minutes.
Adding modifications, Devin does a great job at, if you can't do one of the movements, we come up with another movement that's comparable, that works the same muscle group. And that also brings us back to the map. We limit the class size so that you can receive that personalized attention. If you're struggling understanding one of the workouts or one of the specific exercises, we're right there to coach you. You don't have to worry about getting lost. You can feel like you belong in the group and you're getting the attention they need.
Yeah. So the only thing we ask from people is, we're not going to know you have a question unless you ask us. So unless you look around, there's the definite confused look, like,
How am I doing?
Was I supposed to pick up my kettlebell? How do I do that again? Then obviously we're going to know to help you. But yeah, that's the only thing we ask of people. In order to give modifications, we've got to receive feedback and have people asking, and that goes back to the whole engaged in the process thing. So, and hopefully we're not too intimidating to be able to have people ask us questions throughout the workouts. But I think, Does that answer that question?
Clueless look is probably how we look when we do yoga. Then looking at the person next, like,
Oh, yeah.
am I doing this right?
That was how it felt.
How'd you do that?
When we went to the front of the class and we didn't realize it, they pushed us to the back real quick.
Yeah. Once you guys
One of the people politely suggested, you guys may want to. Perfect. I thought I was going to the corner that I needed to be in, but I was wrong.
If you could go in the hall, you would have. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into the clinically pressed questions here, and we'll kind of
good.
wrap things up. I'll take away the first one.
First one is something you believe in that others may not.
Sure. Do you want to take this one, or you want me to?
Invest in a 401k.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Make sure you're doing your saving and
Yep.
risk management planning. That too. One of the things that we believe is that supplementation is key, and it is for everyone. The reason for that is just as Americans, there's no way we can really get all of the nutrition that we need out of our diet unless you're very strict and you do your meal planning to a T every week.
And the reality is most people don't do that, so.
Yeah, and there's different levels of supplementation, obviously, whether you're focused on just feeling better, trying to gain muscle, trying to have better results if you're running, and such. So we believe there's a place for that for everyone. I don't know if you want to expand on that.
Yeah, I do actually. So supplementation is exactly what it says it is. So like, I again won't call anything out specifically, but there are places that say like, you know, do this and have this shake this many times a day and you're going to get everything you need. Well, the reality is you need some real food, a lot of real food, and a lot of real good food, and the supplementation is to supplement that healthy diet. So, you know, you're eating well-rounded meals, but you're also filling in those gaps with good nutrition through your supplements. So whatever that may be for you, as long as you know, done your research and believe that, you know, things are, that what's going in your body is filling those nutritional gaps and you know what your needs are, yeah, that's something that we definitely strongly believe in. So.
Awesome.
Oh, we got here next one. Yeah,
Top
get
three
them
take
around
home.
it.
Oh, yeah, I can never remember the next one. Top three take home tips or recommendations that you would have for people.
Yeah, this is kind of applies to wherever, whether it's finances, whether it's mental health, physical fitness, really anything in life. Three things, and that they kind of all tie together. Assess where you're at, so this is more of an action steps kind of thing. Assess where you're at. 2, decide if you like it or not. And 3, decide what you're going to do about it. Because I think not enough people hear that, and we're too much of a sugarcoating culture. So
Immediate gratification.
yeah, it's like, oh, do whatever feels good. Okay, well, that didn't quite work for you. We'll try the next best thing. No, like the reality is you need to know where you're at. Are you not happy? Okay, well, decide what you're going to do about it and take it seriously. So I think, you know, that's another thing that I'm clearly passionate about, but those would be my 3, whether that's where you guys were going with that or not, but those would be my 3 like action steps, you know, for each person individually, and something that you can do, because without doing, nothing's going to happen. So,
Got to be active.
There you go.
active.
Like it.
Yep.
Most influential fitness purchase for under $100, or give or take.
Definitely a kettlebell.
I feel like that one was.
Yeah, that one wasn't too big of a surprise.
And like it's at retail cost, I believe they're about $1 per pound. So if you think about it, most people aren't gonna, this isn't like barbell lifting where 100 pounds might not be a lot for some people. If you get a 100-pound kettlebell, you're not pressing that right away. It's just not gonna happen. So yeah, like $1 per pound, you can get a lot for your money, and you could actually get a few different kettlebells and you've got a complete workout system. So.
Awesome. Let's see, next time we got
Book recommendations.
if you would recommend a book to read, again, it could be to improve health or just a good read, if you got any that you want to throw out there.
One that I particularly like, and it's not necessarily just because of my financial background, that's by Napoleon Hill. It's called Think and Grow Rich. Even though the context of the book is about money, if you really dig into it, it's more about visualizing what you want yourself to be like, and that will come to fruition if you truly believe it and you make a plan to start working towards it. The reason why that's so important is it applies to everything, and one of my favorite quotes is Zig Ziglar said, I think he said, if you plan to fail, or you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? So that whole visualizing, I want to be a healthy individual at 80 years old who can still run a mile, or I want to be that guy who can take my beautiful wife and live on a beach somewhere for my retirement. If you visualize it and you want that to come to fruition, you got to start your journey somewhere, and that starts with a plan, and then the action steps, being active to make that plan come about. So, yeah, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
It's a good one.
Devin, you have one?
Not a book. Well, yes, I do have a book. I lied. I like to listen to books a lot. My attention span, just reading sometimes doesn't work for me as well. But right now, I just finished a book called Simple and Sinister by Pavel. He started Strong First, which is the kettlebell organization. And if you're somebody who likes to dig into the technique and the reasons and stuff why, or behind why you're going to do what you're going to do, that'd be a great one. It's a very quick read. And if I say that, it is. But for like personal growth, I would say I also like podcasts a lot. So Andy Andrews is a really great podcast guy. He has written a lot of books, which I would highly recommend any of them. So I know that's not a specific answer, but all of his books are wonderful. And his podcast is called In the Loop with Andy Andrews. He is such a great guy of high character. The first time you ever listen to the podcast, you'd be like, whoa, what is this?
He's kind of quirky too.
Yeah,
so
he's super quirky and just really down to earth and very real. So about any topic that has to do with life. So not just fitness oriented. Definitely not, that's not even how it's based. It's really ever fitness stuff, just mostly like personal growth and life questions. So that's my little plug.
Good.
One more to add to the list.
Yeah.
On the last one?
Yeah, if you could go back 10 years and kind of give yourself some advice, what would you say?
I would say probably don't take everything at face value. I alluded to earlier, do your research. Ask people who you trust who are in the field that you're researching into, whether it's supplementation or fitness or whatever. Ask the people who are knowledgeable and who've really studied this stuff. What do they think about it? So I think I believed a lot of things that 14 would be 10 years ago for me. So I didn't really know much at that point, and I wouldn't have known to research for myself, but that's what I would tell the younger me. Research for yourself and ask the people who know what you don't. So, what about you?
Well, we talked about this probably a month or so ago. When I look back on what I spent my time on when I was 15, is playing video games and just being kind of stupid with the way I managed my time. And so if I were to go back 10 years, I would tell myself to find what you really like to do and do it and be the best at it. Don't just go at things half-heartedly. And I know that there's a value in having an education and being a well-rounded person, but you're going to be happiest doing the thing that you love to do the most. And if you're the best at it and you enjoy it, it doesn't matter if you make $1 million a year or a $25,000 salary, because you've probably heard this before in some research. Those 80, 90-year-old people, when they go back and say, what would you tell yourself, kind of like you're asking us, but 70 years down the road, they always say, I wish I would have done things differently. Spend more time doing the things I love, with the people I love, and that's what I would tell myself, so I start earlier. Now we're at that point. I'm doing what I love, with the people that I love, and enjoying every minute of it. So.
We were just talking about that on the way over here.
Yeah.
We were walking by all the dorms. I was like, man, I wasted so much time in college and just screwing around.
Isn't that so true? Yep.
Live and learn.
Yep.
Live and learn,
That's for
exactly. Never stop learning either.
All right. Anything else?
Just where people can find you, anything you want to plug.
Well, you can find us here. We're in our location right now at 1245 Badger Street. We are on the second floor, and how things will work at the beginning, at least until we get some kinks ironed out, is we're pre-registration for classes, so you have to go to www.journeyactive.com to register for your classes. The week of October 31st, your first class is free, so come check that out. And the doors will be unlocked for that, but for all other weeks and times, the doors will be locked, so you'll need a key fob to get in. And then also our Facebook page at Journey Active. We've got a Twitter and an Instagram, and I don't know what else.
As far as plugs locally, obviously, Total Athletic Therapy and working with the Human Performance Lab at UWL. We've had some really great partners in this journey so far. 360 Real Estate has been just phenomenal to work with. Some of our other business partners, Citizen State Bank, have got high customer expectation level and serving people. And actually, we've pulled a lot of stuff from a lot of the different partners that we've worked with to make our process better. So there are too many people to name, but those are a few of probably the most influential ones so far.
Yeah, and I will plug 3 more, just fitness-wise or really physical health-wise. The Center of Chiropractic is where we do our chiropractic care, but we advocate, obviously for chiropractic care across the board because it's great for everybody. But that's where we do our chiropractic care, and the doctors there are absolutely amazing, and they actually care about you, which is awesome. And then Strong First, solid, amazing, driven company with a purpose. And then also ACE, the American Council on Exercise, which is where I also have my group fitness certification through. So really good about continuing education materials, getting general information out there for the public to read. So if you don't know, you can also check out either their websites, and they have several like blogs, information articles that are open to more people than just those who have their certifications. So that's what I would plug.
Sure. Sounds good.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for checking out this episode of Clinically Pressed. For show notes outlining and linking to everything we covered in this episode, please check it out at clinicallypressed.com. While you're there, you can find all of our stuff from full episodes, insights, as well as our new CP shorts. You can also find us on any podcast outlet that you like to use to find your favorite podcast. And while you're there, please give us a review, rate us, or give us a thumbs up. We've been told it helps, and we would appreciate it greatly. For more free content, please check out totalathletictherapy.com and sign up for our free newsletter while you're there. All of our daily posts delivered right to your email every Friday. Thank you, and see you next episode.